Every trip to the grocery store tells a story. A story of weather patterns on another continent, of ships on the high seas, and of hard choices on the farm. For years now, that story has been one of rising costs. Even as some headlines say inflation is cooling, many of us are still asking, why does my grocery bill feel so high? Today, we're going to unpack the complex global forces that determine the price of your food, separating the facts from the fear, and looking at what might be ahead. Let's start with the big picture. The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, tracks the international prices of a basket of globally traded food commodities. It's like a thermometer for the world's food market. In December 2025, that index was 2.3% lower than it was a year before. More importantly, it was a significant 22.4% below the all-time high reached in March 2022. So the intense fever of the 2022 price crisis has broken. For the entire year of 2025, however, the average was still 4.3% higher than 2024. This tells us the story is mixed. Prices have come down from dizzying peaks, but they are stabilizing at a level that is higher than what we knew before the recent crises. Vegetable oils, up 17.1% from 2024, hitting a 3-year high due to tight supplies. Dairy products, up 13.2%, driven by strong global demand. Meat, up 5.1%, supported by import demand and market uncertainties. Cereals, like wheat and corn, down 4.9%, with the lowest annual average since 2020. Sugar down 17.0%, also to its lowest annual average since 2020. So if the global index is stabilizing, why does it still feel expensive? Because prices are pushed and pulled by a cocktail of powerful and often global forces. First, climate and extreme weather. Our food is grown in a world of increasing climate volatility. A drought in South America, a heat wave in Europe, or flooding in Southeast Asia can wipe out harvests for key commodities like cocoa, coffee, or grains. For example, the 2025 summer heat wave in Europe was estimated to potentially increase unprocessed food prices by 0.4 to 0.7 percentage points. When supply drops suddenly, prices jump. Second, energy and input costs. Modern farming and the journey of food to your plate run on energy. The cost of diesel for tractors, natural gas for fertilizer production, and fuel for global shipping all get baked into the final price. Even as crude oil prices fluctuate, these input costs remain a major and volatile factor for farmers. Third, animal disease and structural supply shifts. Outbreaks like highly pathogenic avian influenza or bird flu directly reduce flocks of egg-laying hens and poultry, shrinking supply and pushing prices up. On a larger scale, the supply of meat can change structurally. For instance, the U.S. cattle herd has been getting smaller since 2019, leading to tighter supplies and contributing to rising beef prices even as demand stays strong. Here's a crucial point that affects your wallet directly. Where you eat matters. The inflation rate for food away from home, your restaurants, cafes, and takeout, is consistently higher than for food at home, your groceries. In the United States, prices for food away from home were predicted to rise 3.9% in 2025, compared to 2.4% for groceries. The forecast for 2026 is similar. Why this gap? Because a restaurant bill includes not just the cost of ingredients, but also the rising costs of labor, rent, and energy for the kitchen and dining room. These costs have proven to be stickier and slower to come down. This trend isn't just American. In the Euro area in December 2025, the price of services, which includes restaurant meals, was rising at 3.4%, while overall goods inflation was much lower. It's important to ask, who feels this pressure the most? The impact is deeply unequal. Households with lower incomes spend a much larger share of their budget on food. A price increase of even 5% is a serious threat to their food security and forces impossible choices. And what about the farmers? Are they benefiting from higher prices? The evidence suggests not in a simple way. Farmers face the same soaring costs for their fuel, fertilizer, and equipment. In Europe in 2022, The prices of goods and services needed for agriculture rose by over 27%, which was much faster than the rise in food prices at the shop. This squeeze makes it harder to farm profitably, especially for smaller operations. Looking ahead, what can we expect? Most official forecasts point toward a continued, gradual easing of food price inflation. In the U.S., overall food prices are predicted to increase by 2.7% in 2026. In the euro area, projections see food inflation declining to around 2.1%. But remember, slower inflation is not the same as lower prices. It means prices are likely to keep rising, but at a more moderate pace. The path to a more stable food future hinges on building resilience, not just in global supply chains, but in our own communities. This includes championing sustainable farming practices and supporting local farming efforts that shorten the distance from farm to table. The story of your grocery bill is about our interconnected world, but it's also about the strength of our local food systems. By understanding this, we can make more informed choices, like visiting a farmer's market, and help build a system that nourishes everyone, from our own neighborhood to the other side of the world. If you found this useful, help us grow by subscribing to The Farm Report. See you next time.